Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. Okay, this is our first class on CEG552, Highway and Traffic Engineering. So these are my details. As you all know, my phone number, you can have it from the WhatsApp group as well. Okay. If you have any problems or any difficulties regarding to this subject, you can just text me, right? Either in the group or personally text me. I'll try to reply when I have free time, inshallah. Or for those students who stay nearby UiTM, you are most welcome to come over to meet me for any discussion, right? Just make an appointment earlier. Okay, for the first lecture, before I start, I need to introduce to you what is OBE. I think all of you already well versed enough since you are all in at least semester 5 this semester. So you would have a rough idea of what is OBE, but I'll just give you some refreshment, right, to revise what does OBE means. Okay, this is basically outcome-based education, right, where at the end of the lecture or at the end of the semester, we would measure what would actually be the output of a course after the students have completed the whole syllabus, right? So in this system, OBE system, they introduce 3 essential domains of learning. Number 1 is cognitive level, which is more to written exam, right? It assesses you on the thinking element, and then you have the psychomotor element. This is more to practical session, where we will assess the demonstration. Okay, and finally the affective. It is more to the attitude. Since this semester is ODL semester, we couldn't really measure the attitude, but what we do is that we'll be looking into the affective domain from the laboratory report that you will be submitted later on, right? So that's what tells us whether the students really contribute in the group member. The quality of the report also portray whether the group member has a good teamwork or not, right? In either of becoming the leader or either you are team members in the group. Okay. Why is it OBE important? Because we are being accredited by the EAC or engineering board. Okay. So this EAC is called as Engineering Accreditation Council. This is necessary for our program to get accredited, okay, or it is also known or well known as recognized, right, to ensure that our program is being recognized by EAC. What is EAC? It is a professional body from the Board of Engineers Malaysia, BEM, right? They are the body who actually evaluates the programs in the universities. Okay, so why we need to go for accreditation, right? It is to ensure that our engineers that we are going to produce either in 1 or 2 years time, it would be recognized by the Malaysian government. So when you go out there, you bring out your scroll, you will be recognized by the government sectors or by the private sectors. Okay? And even if you go outside the country, either the UK to the US, right, you would still be recognized because it is part of the requirement. We fulfill the requirement that has needed by Washington Accord. Okay. So when this program is being accredited, it implies that the degree offered by university is high quality and the graduates have achieved the required outcomes at a certain level. Okay? So these are the elements in the OBE. We have at the course level, the CO, course outcome. At the program level, EC221, you have the PO. And then after you have been graduated from your ITM, PEO will be measured. This is measured after the student has been graduated for 3 to 5 years. So when you are at the working sector, you will start to measure this PEO, right? And it is also part of the mission and vision of your ITM. So these are the PEO of EC221 carried out later. Okay, this is the details of the CO and PO that is being assessed in this subject. Right. So for the lecture session with me, within that 2 hours, we would actually address CO1 to analyze, formulate, and design the professional solution for the problems related to highway and traffic engineering. So the domain is cognitive level 4, right? So these are the summative assessment, right? For the ODL semester, there is a little bit of changes that have been made for the ODL semester, right? The practical test is still the same. You still have practical test 1, you have the practical test 2, okay? And then the laboratory report would still be there, 10%. Okay? This final exam will be no more. We would replace this with test 1 and also test 2. So both would contribute to 30 and 30%. So the total marks would be 100% for the summative assessment of this subject. Okay. Alright, so that is basically the whole idea of this whole subject, and also on the OBE, right? Okay, let's go to topic 1, right, on introduction to highway and traffic engineering. Okay, so under topic 1, there are 5 subtopics that will be covered. Okay, number 1 is topic on highway and traffic engineering and its scope. 1.2 is characteristic of drivers, pedestrian, vehicles, and the interrelationship between the roads and also the ergonomics elements in highway design. 1.3 is development of highway and street system in Malaysia. 1.4 emerging issues and trends in highway and traffic engineering. And lastly, the feasibility studies and road location. Basically what I can say here, you have already looked into all those elements here, especially for those who are from diploma. You have studied this. So this is a kind of refreshment subtopic for those coming from diploma, right? So we'll revise again what that's being described in each subtopic, right? So let us start with 1.1, highway and traffic engineering at its scope. Alright, if you look at the title of the subject, it is highway and traffic engineering. So there are two main elements in this subject. Number 1 is traffic and another one is highway. So for the highway engineering, the definition is about, you will be looking into all those roads elements, right? Either in designing the, or it can also be the construction of the road, right? The design and construction of the roads must be efficient and safe. That meets the guideline. Right? In Malaysia, we'll be using the JKR Arahan Teknik Jalan. Okay. scope that will be covered in highway engineering. Number one, there will be pavement structural design, construction, and also the maintenance aspect. Right. Number two is the materials. So what are the appropriate materials that you will be chosen in order to provide the most efficient road system? And number three is the rehabilitation process, right? And finally, you would have the geometric design. So this geometric design can be any geometric design, any kind of measurement that is related to the furniture, right, that you can see on the road system. Okay. So these are the picture that would tells you on what is highway engineering. Okay, so if you look at this is more to the structural elements, right? You are not just looking on the surface area, but you are also studying on the deeper layer below the surface layer. Right, so you'll be looking into what are the materials that will be used and what are the design that you will be calculating in order to know the thickness of each layer at the subsurface. Right, and the second picture here tells you all of the road furnitures that you have on this interchange. Okay, so if you look from your bare eyes, you can actually see the shape of all of the furnitures, right? And each of the furnitures of highway elements, they would have their own geometric design. So all those kind of measurements of the geometric design you would study in the highway system, right? And number two is the elements of traffic engineering. So traffic engineering is about the planning, traffic operations of roads, streets and highways, their networks, the terminals, the abutting lands and relationships with other modes of transportation is considered to be traffic engineering. So this traffic engineering is more to the on-site measurement. For example, you will be measuring the data of traffic volume, traffic noise, or it can also be traffic speed. Okay? So these are the examples of the data of traffic engineering. Why do you need to study traffic engineering? First thing is about the level of service. You are examining what is actually the LOS of a road system, whether it is belongs to the best group or it belongs to the lowest ranking of LOS, which is LOF F. Okay, so this requires traffic engineering data. And number two, the objective is to provide a high level of safety. Okay. The scope, as I mentioned, you can measure the volume, the noise, the speed, the flow, the density, and everything that related to traffic studies. Okay. It can be also about the traffic operations, the planning, the system of the transportation, and it's about the admin and management, for example, parking study, toll system, right? So under this traffic engineering study, people will start to do lots of research. Okay? A wide range of research can be done in this area actually. Okay, these pictures would tells you very clear about what is actually transportation. Okay, so when you are talking about transport, right, in a simple word, you can say that moving, something that is being moving. Okay, move by what? You know that you must have a car, you must have a motorcycle, you must have a medium to transport, to move from one point to another. Okay, so this diagram tells you very clearly what transportation means. Number one is about mobility, the movement, right? The movement that is being made by a medium, either by walking or driving, right? And in order to make a move, you must know where are you going. Either you are coming from your ITM and your destination is to, for example, Queens Bay. So there must be an entry and there must be an exit. Okay, so that is about transportation, right? Why do we provide and develop road infrastructure? I think you can actually think of it. It's about common sense, right? You can just imagine during the 18th century, back then, alright, people using animal cart to transport goods from one point to another. Okay, you can compare to current technologies that we have. We have the pipeline system to transport the goods. For example, the oil, we are using the pipeline system. Okay? So the advancement of the transportation system has actually eased a lot to the, and it contributes a very significant improvement to the economy of Malaysia, especially. So you can talk about economy and all, right? The importance of transportation, okay, because of social, economic, admin, safety, right? The goals, it is giving access to locations, okay? Reasonable travel time with the lowest cost, right? As low as possible. Okay? So these are the development of transportation engineering, right? We have this intersection, all right, with all of those road furnitures, advancement of road furnitures on the road system. Okay, and you can see here there are road signs to assist people on the road users. Okay. Right. This is another definition of transportation system. In order to define transportation system, you must have a medium, as now, or it can be a fixed facilities, right? And you need to have the flow entities. Okay. You have the control system. Control system is either the vehicle with manual control movement, or is being automated system. Okay. And the traffic signals on the signboards on the road itself also belongs to control system. It will control the flow or the movement of the flow entities just now. Okay. And in order to operate these three systems, you need to have the user or the human being itself to become the operator. Okay. Transportation system divided into 4 main subsystems. You have the major one in Malaysia. Even we have the most land transportation, right? Air transportation, water transportation, and also pipeline system, right? The transportation system here means that it's about the mode of choice. Okay, a kind of transportation distinguished in terms of their physical characteristic. Right? Either it is on the land, or on the water, or in the air. or even the pipeline can be as well. Okay, and it's classified according whether they primarily carry freight or passenger, whether they serve urban, intercity, or special purpose markets. So these are the pictures of the transportation mode. Okay, these are the pipelines you can see here, pipeline system, right? Okay, so you can just see the examples of transportation mode between the city, either it's urban, intercity, special purpose. Okay, carried out this one. Alright, highway is the most dominant. Okay, so what I want to stress in the transportation mode is there are some exam questions that came out to be on transportation mode. They ask you to distinguish between the advantages and disadvantages of highway or by using urban transit, for example bus, okay, or either by opting for airplane, okay, or either using ETS, for example. Nowadays in Malaysia that we have ETS, right? Okay. So the answer would actually come from here, from all of these slides that we have here. Okay, you need to distinguish between one to another in terms of the modes of transportation. What are the advantages in terms of the cost, for example, in terms of the time travel, time taken, right? In terms of the frequency, for example, right? Okay, so I will just look into some of the example. Okay, number one is on the highway. Why do people prefer to use highway, right? So you can look at this. Right? Major market, it serves most of the major markets all over the world, all right? And at the same time, the major service characteristic, you can see it is very high accessibility to almost all potential destinations. So it is just within your what they call as just within a reach, all right? You just need to have your car key with you and just start the button and you can just move wherever you want. Okay, so in terms of accessibility, it will be very, very high. All right, just a matter whether you have the transport or not. Okay, it can be very direct with very low door-to-door travel times. It will really means here that it will reduce the travel times lah. Moderate speeds and capacities. Okay, if you are carrying heavy or huge goods, you are not. So it is not suitable for you to choose highway, for example. You are not suitable to choose car for you to go with the heavy goods just now, right? In terms of cost, the capital cost is moderate, right? The vehicles is cheaper and available. Total investment quite high. For example, in Malaysia, maybe you need to pay for the toll, you need to pay for the parking ticket, for example, right? Operating costs high but lower for private passenger vehicles. Okay? Of course, toll charge also would be lowest among the freight vehicles, for example. Okay? Environmental impacts also part of the consideration in order for you to choose mode of transportation. It is high in terms of air pollution. Okay, so this is second one. I just want to show about the urban transit. Right, maybe the question asks you to choose either you want to use a car or you want to use your bus, right? So this urban transit, in terms of transit passengers, right? It would be choice riders, person making work trips into dense central business district, and captive riders, person without access to automobiles. So these are the preference of people that using transit transportation, right? In terms of the travel time, it varies actually, depends on the speeds. Okay? Door-to-door travel time is greater than using private vehicle, except in congested central business district. Accessibility less than private autos. Okay? If you use your own vehicle, you can just go anywhere you want. You can stop at the R&R, for example. You can stop for a cup of coffee, for example, right? But if you're using bus, it might be a direct trip, or they may just stop for once, right? And the capacities are high. The capital costs high for rail system, while operating costs moderate for both bus and rail system. Environmental impact less than private vehicles. Okay? For air, you can just read. Okay, this is also common sense. If you were to think about the cost, of course, air would have the highest cost compared to private vehicle and transit. All right. Okay, rail. You may include the consideration of using ETS or commuter that you have in Malaysia nowadays. Water. Water is quite less favorite. Okay? Unless it you want to carry very huge goods and from a very far place, right? Then it is preferable to choose water mode to reduce the cost, especially. This is pipeline. You have no choice. If you are transporting oil or gas, you need to use this. Okay? So as I tell you on the final exam question, they ask you to choose. So these are the factors, right, on the attributes that you need to look into details in order for you to choose which is better compared to another one. Right? Okay, what I want to highlight here is about the choice of mode. Second point here, the choice of mode actually depending on the purpose of the travel that has been made. Okay, either it is business travel, vacation travel, or personal travel. So you need to look at the question carefully. If it is about personal travel, the person will be more sensitive to, for example, price. Let's say you are going out to meet your friend in Kuala Lumpur, right? Might be in terms of price would be very sensitive to you because it's not that essential, okay? But if it is a business trip, you're going to KL because of you have a task to complete, right? You are working with a company that needs you to go there to grab for the tender, for example, to get a tender in KL. So you need to go, you need to reach there at very early in the morning, for example. So it would be very time sensitive. Okay, the cost would be the second point, right? If you were to travel to KL, take up double the cost of traveling by car, you still prefer to use aeroplane directly because you know by 8 a.m. you can reach KL. Okay, and vacation trip because you're going for leisure, nothing that actually push you to get there early, nothing that push you about grabbing any opportunity. Okay, so it would be a bit more to price sensitive. You choose something that is more moderate, which is more safe to your pocket money. All right. Okay, so basic attributes that you can actually looks is about the schedule, it's about the speed, cost, the service offered, okay? Maybe about the comfortability, right? The perceptions regarding the service offered. Okay. This is about you are looking into the review. Okay? If you are traveling by bus, you can look at the review of that service provider. Okay. So the example is on the below part, you can read and own. Okay. Okay, that is about topic 1.1. So we continue with topic 1.2. Okay, topic 1.2 is about the characteristic of drivers, pedestrians, vehicles, road, and their interrelationship. So this particular subtopic, you can actually look into the Gabor and Hoyle book of Traffic and Highway Engineering. It is in chapter 3. Okay? Right, this is also a kind of revision for those who have already studied in diploma. Alright, we are looking at what are the character of the driver, pedestrian, the vehicles, the road system, and what are their relationship to the whole highway system. Okay. All right. When we are talking about the driver, it can be the pedestrian itself. It's about the characteristic of the physical character, the mental characteristic, psychological, the comfort, convenience, enjoyment, stress, perception, sensation, or visual. For the vehicle, it's about the static and dynamic, dimension, speed, power, or weight. Right? The road, it can be on the geometric design, lane capacity, alignment, control measures at lane, gradient, traffic control system. Right? And this characteristic behavior influenced by 3 factors, either physical, environment, or psychology. Alright. For the physical factor, there are 2 things that will be considered in the physical factor. Number 1 is the perception reaction time. Okay? Perception reaction time means that when a driver saw an obstacle in front of him, so how long would he take to stop or to press the brake and to stop immediately before the obstacle in front of him? Alright, so that is the perception reaction time. So this perception reaction time would varies depending on the physical appearance of physical characteristic of the driver. For example, age, fatigue, complexity of the situation, driver's physical characteristic, alcohol or drugs, etc. In a normal condition, a human would react to the obstacle for about 0.5 to 3 seconds. It would be very fast, right, in a normal condition. But if you have a problem in terms of your eyesight, for example, the elder people, they couldn't see that clear, so he might take the perception reaction time longer, maybe 7 seconds, for example. Okay. And number 2 is about the cone of vision. Alright, the cone of vision of a driver must be clear enough, must be wide enough So these are part of the consideration when we are designing the geometric design of the furnitures on the highway. Number 2 is about the environmental factor. Can be weather, on lighting, traffic volumes, or it can be in terms of the road geometry. Okay. I think weather and lighting will be clear. If it's raining, it will disturb the visibility of the driver. If it is too shine, especially in the afternoon, also create a blurry sighting to the driver as well. Okay. In terms of traffic volume, high numbers of vehicles would result to congestion. Road geometry, the curvy road, right, would create obstacles, which makes more problems to the drivers. Psychological factor, motive of the journey. Okay, this is about psychology. If you're going out for maybe for meeting your parents after a long time, you haven't got back to your hometown, if it's very means to your you feel so miss your parents, your mother, your father, you're going back home, so you feel very motivated to go home. So this would actually create maybe a faster journey. Alright, the travel time will be decreased. Okay. Emotion as well. If you are quite stressful, you are on the road, so maybe the time taken for you to reach that place will be higher. So they are all interrelated. The road, the human, and the vehicle itself. Right? Okay, human response process. It can be about the visual reception and hearing reception. Okay, visual, as I told you, is about eyesight, right? Hearing, ear receives sounds, stimuli warning sounds, maybe horn sounds from the next vehicles. Okay. It's about visual acuity, peripheral vision, color vision, glare vision, depth perception. Right? Okay, perception reaction process can be divided into 4 processes. Okay. You will study this in detail on the perception reaction time later, okay. Or you can refer to textbook. Right? There are details on this. Pedestrian characteristics also play a very important role. Okay, influence the design location of pedestrian control devices. We have traffic system for pedestrian. We have the zebra crossing, pedestrian walkway, right? Elevated walkway or crosswalk, we call them. Design of an all-red phase permit pedestrian to cross an intersection of heavy traffic. So it is very important if that area consists of many people, many pedestrians, for example near shopping mall, so that traffic light must be designed with all red phase. So at all intersection, at all direction must be red to allow the pedestrian to cross. Number 3 is the vehicle characteristic. It is based on the type of vehicle, right? The kinematic motion of the vehicle, the dynamic factor, right? It's about the horsepower of the vehicle itself. You actually can consider, right? Malaysia production car compared to Japan production car, for example, right? Which is better in terms of the performance. Okay? So you can read that out about the vehicle characteristics now. Road characteristic. Okay, road characteristic, sighting distance from the driver to the obstacle in front. There must be a minimum requirement distance that must be allowed, right? And the length of the roadway for the driver to stop, there must be a minimum distance. For the driver to pass or to overtake a vehicle in front, there must be a minimum distance as well. Okay, next we will go into topic 1.3. Okay.